It's your job. I give you money, you give me ideas.
And you never say thank you.
That's what the money is for.
A world that makes fun of guys who cry, but 80% of suicides are guys.
Okay.
Hey, hold on, before we get to this dude over here, I do want to address that. Deal is that women actually attempt suicide more often, quote unquote attempt suicide more often, but men are just more successful at it. Nothing you can chalk up to the boys, huh? But either ways, as far as making fun of men who cry, let me explain something to you, young man. After the age of 10, as a dude, no one gives a shit about your tears. Okay? It's biology. It's the world. No one will give a single... Your mom, maybe, but that's it. Rest of the world, suck it up, because there is an expectation placed upon you. And deal is that instead of thinking that this expectation is a burden, you can go into that expectation like, yes, I can handle shit. I'm not going to cry when things go crazy, when things go nuts. You know, this movement to make man tears okay and all this other fun stuff. I understand it comes from a good place. Unfortunately, it is destructive because ultimately, and it really speaks to what I discuss on the channel rather often. The trajectory of men and women are completely different, right? But for a brief time there, when you're a kid, if you cry, you get your way. And eventually, there's this thing that's like, and I just said the age 10, but there's this thing called reality that comes up and says, no, as a guy, your tears aren't going to work anymore. And the difference between the male and the female is that her tears don't always, but can work for forever. You get what I'm saying? So instead of sitting here being like, oh, well, why doesn't guys want, as a man, you're not going to want to cry. You're going to want to be the one who has an ounce of logic to you, the one who won't break down. That's what she needs from you. If you're just two people sitting there crying, how we gonna get it? How we gonna make it? I mean, then how can you guys even function? No. One gets to be an emotional wreck, and the other gets to be the solid rock that pulls them through it. And unfortunately, the ratio of the female being the rock isn't the greatest thing ever. So yeah, I don't believe that society looks down on men who cry. I believe that biology dictates that as a man, it's not your place to cry. It's not your place to break down, and that's the difference. But let's see what. Hold on. Sticks, X, and Hammer. Is that you? Sorry, but it looks exactly like Sticks, X, and Hammer.
Okay, this one's for dudes, and this is a perfect example why feminism is beneficial for men.
Okay, hold on. Give me a second, guys. Let's see what let's see what this chick magnet, this mountain of testosterone. Oh my goodness, let's see what this guy has to say. All right, let's go, boys.
All of you think feminism is hating men. It's not. It's about taking down patriarchy and its oppressive norms.
Okay, Sticks. Because I'm just gonna call him Sticks for the rest of this video. The reason that what you consider patriarchy is what it is because somebody has to think of it. And if the person just so happens to more often be male, Godspeed. Isn't it better to just be like, oh, okay, cool. Well, we live relatively comfortable lives compared to so long ago where where, oh my goodness, forced entry was just a bad date, and or during the caveman times where he just clunk a chick upside the head, drag her off, and he has him a wife now, right? Like, we are so far removed from that I genuinely believe that you do not have the proper historical concept perspective to be like, oh my goodness, yes, then we have to break down these oppressive norms, when in reality those what you're calling oppressive norms are pillars that allow you to make TikTok videos from your fancy from I don't want to call it fancy phone. And is his fingernails painted? Jesus Christ, boy. All right, let's keep going.
Even though men are the ones who benefit from patriarchy the most.
Here's the fun part, though. If you're what you're calling Western society is patriarchy, right? And men benefit the most, then can you explain the welfare state, which has, really allowed women to forego men, and has been popping for so long that women have, generally speaking, not all, but many women have completely abandoned the concept of, like they've completely brought into the idea that they're strong and independent and don't need no man, when in reality, we, as men, we recognize more often than not that we need each other, and it's not as easy to convince us otherwise. But when it comes to the feminine, yeah, if her whole world is what's ever in front of her. And guys, I really need you to remember that.
They're still victimized to an extent. You can think of it as misogyny being a two-way street.
Yep, he said it, misogyny, and here we are. I'm just saying, you gonna say call out, my swag, right? My misogynistic, me man, me big strong man, or maybe I should do my epic voice. I'm not even sure. Now, oh yes, he said misogyny. I feel the testosterone just pumping through my body right now. So, what I'm saying is, like, yeah, it's kind of my thing. It's kind of my thing. But either ways, patriarchy tells men let's keep going.
Patriarchy tells men they shouldn't be vulnerable or show emotions.
No. And this is where you guys have been so wrapped up in your school books that, and the whole gender thing. Oh my goodness, I think therefore I. It's not patriarchy. It's biology, guy. It is the urge, our urge as men. We are naturally aggressive. You, sir, could have been more naturally aggressive, but we live in times of such comfort that, like pure aggression, pure strength aren't particularly the virtues that, they once were, back in those times in which you imagine this world coming up in. So, yeah, like, you of all people should be far more grateful for the world that strong men have built for you. But that's the thing, about the strong man and the weak man, because the weak man, yeah, you're definitely, we are definitely on the way to having the next generation just be 1,000,000% badass, because shit, I mean, because this one is really just throwing it down the drain.
He uses misogyny to label those things as feminine things.
But that's the thing. This is, once again, biology, because men and women are different things. We have different, like, our brains operate in different ways, but hey, gender, right?
So when men get vulnerable or emotional, they're criticized, made fun of, told to be.
Okay, by who though? You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, oh, like, that's the thing. As far as, like, me being a man, I don't sit here and just break down in the middle of like, in the middle of the street. Like, that's just not my thing. Like, there's been like in the past 20 years, I can count the amount of people who've ever seen me physically cry on less than one hand, if that. And so, but when it comes to emotional things and hurting, yes, have I hurt? Without question. But I've always been more of one to throw myself into whatever it is, like work, going out and exercising, saying, like just throwing my mind into something else as a bit of a distraction, yes, but also as an outlet. And that's not having a lack of emotion. That's being strong. That's the definition of strength, being able to not break down and just like completely lose your shit. That is the strength that is pure masculinity, at least in my opinion. And to see that is like, oh no, well, we want guys just to be able to cry and emotion. I don't encourage that shit, fam. Like, no, like, stop, because all it does is spread ultimately like weakness. Because guys, that's once again the fact that your tears do not work the way a woman's tears works. That is biology, bro. It really is.
Man not to act like a woman, that's toxic as fuck for men.
Is it though? Is it? Because that's just once again, men and women aren't the same thing, sir. I know you may like to think it sticks. I know you really might like to think it, but unfortunately, no. Men and women are not the same thing.
Because men end up bottling up their emotions. They have nowhere to seek help for.
See, that's the reason I really appreciate my dad. Like, this shit is the reason I really appreciate my dad, because he's the one who showed me how to made sure that there was always an outlet for me to get whatever, to work through whatever it is that I was going through. And unfortunately, he's sitting here saying, oh, they don't, you're sitting here talking about what men need, and something tells me that there may have been a skipped generation or two or masculinity in your story, buddy. And it sucks for you, but if those skips didn't happen, you would know as well as I did that we have emotions. We expel our emotional baggage in productive, or I was raised and encouraged to expel my emotions in a productive way. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like everybody got the memo.
They don't know how to deal with these emotions. Patriarchy oppresses all of us. Some more than others, yes, but all of us.
That's you, Shan. So men need to be.
So men needs to be a feminist also for their own sake.
Sticks, come on, man. I like your content, dude. I think you're a little bit hyperbolic on the whole the whole war zone thing, but hell, who the hell knows at this point. Guys, with that being said, we're gonna bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you like it, toss a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub. If you enjoy my fantastic voice, you want to get videos like this every single day, share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute and are the biggest fan of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications. Get something from Teespring. Check me out on Patreon. Links in the description. Actually, go in the description box and do damage and speak. Let me know. What do you guys think in the comments? Yeah, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer. I mean, dude, did you walk through, did you walk through someplace with a lot of static? I mean, your hair's looking real frizzled. It's clearly not Sticks, Hex, and Hammer. But either ways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. When it comes to masculinity, there is, we do have our outlets. They're just not the same as a woman, because they can't be. It is not how we as a society or as a culture, as a people, or as a species can function. And yet we live in such comfortable times that, you got advocates for it like this. Go figure. But you may disagree. That's what my comment section's for. Until the next one.
Jimmy, you're thinking with your dick. I am not thinking with my dick.
Yes, you are.
No, I just think that
Put
she's
your dick away.
she's an emotional,
Jim.
interesting, caring girl.
Jimmy, that's your dick talking.